Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers are advised that the following program contains images and voices of people who have died.
Some people believe our lives end twice. Once when we draw our last breath, and a second time when people no longer remember us. So what if, by keeping memories alive, we could keep people alive too?
We are at the grave of Private Everett Luke Sumner. He was a proud non-enduring man who fought in World War I.
As a First Nations man, Luke Sumner faced a huge amount of discrimination in his own country. And yet, in 1916, when he was just 19, Luke volunteered to go overseas and fight.
He wanted to travel and broaden his horizons, have a chance to see the world. Unfortunately, with that came the war.
Around 400,000 Australians signed up to fight in the First World War, including over 1,000 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander soldiers. Many, like Luke, were young and had never been overseas before. They fought in places like France, Egypt and Turkey and faced horrific conditions.
They lived in constant fear of gas attacks, machine fire and just all the combat going on around them.
You go over the edge and your head is shot just for being there. It left a lasting impact on the people that fought in the war, such as PTSD.
60,000 Aussie soldiers died fighting in the First World War, and many of those who made it home never fully recovered, like Luke.
He came home and he lived here for about 20 years after the war, and then he got a blood clot in his brain, which they think was sustained by the war.
For more than half a century, Luke's grave was left like this, unmarked and forgotten. But now, Luke is set to receive a headstone, thanks to the work of these Year 9 students and the Headstone project.
Okay, looking for Crookshank.
The Headstone Project is a group of volunteers who dedicate their time to giving headstones to unrecognised nurses and soldiers that fought in the war.
Sometimes they reach out to schools because there's only a set number of people that are working with the Headstone Project. So yeah, that's where we come in.
You've all got a name to research, you're in pairs. Have you got the reference for the grave?
They have done an extraordinary job. So they've come out here, they've found them, they've researched their history, and they've made an enormous contribution to the work of the Headstone Project.
Already, these students have been able to help transform the graves of 2 World War I nurses. Okay, so what are we looking at here?
We're looking at the grave of Agnes and Edith Cox.
Edith was a masseuse and she worked in a hospital until she was 30 when she enlisted into the army as a nurse.
Agnes enlisted into the war when she was 46.
So when you first came here, the graves didn't look like this, right?
No, not at all. The plaques were cracked and broken and there was all glass in and around the grave, and it wasn't very respectful for what they did during the war.
But the work that you've done has been able to transform these.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm really happy that we're able to be a part of this experience.
There are thousands of soldiers and nurses around Australia lying in unmarked graves, and the Headstone Project is working to uncover their stories.
We're not going to be around forever, and so we need a younger generation who've got an interest in history to carry on the work that we've commenced.
It's easy to move on, especially for young kids these days, because you're thinking, oh, 100 years ago, it doesn't matter anymore. But really it does matter because it shapes the world we have today. Just never forget what all those men and women did